Hello, this is the Wrecking and Rapping podcast. Today is February 22nd, 2024. I'm Chris Cooper, here with Alex and Flizzo. This episode is dedicated to Ben. Yes, the Ben. We follow in your footsteps. Also, my big brother. Ben said that without him, there would be no podcast. Do you guys have any information on what he's referring to specifically?
Well, let's start off with like the basics. Like I'm obviously friends with Ben, the original like friendship. So I wouldn't have met you guys without being friends with him. So in that sense, yes.
I feel like that's getting pretty meta for Ben. I don't think that's what he meant.
But yeah, because I was
like,
afraid that I was going to get sued someday with like a Wikipedia article claiming that Ben invented podcasts.
I mean, he did. I know he told me about podcasts a while ago,
Like
and I never really heard of them or listened to them. No, I would say.
And JRE is your
mid
first one?
2010s.
What you told me is the two that you subscribed to were being Chris Cooper and JRE. 20-teens.
Yeah, I to this day only listen to three. It's being Chris Cooper doesn't happen
Wrecking
anymore.
and Rapping.
So,
So what are your other
JRE
two?
and MSSP, the Matt and Shane Secret Podcast. I listen to that one, and then the other podcasts I listen to are like on and off. Like I hear about a good episode and I tune in or something like that, but I don't subscribe necessarily.
I listen to too many podcasts.
While you work?
How'd you start listening to podcasts, Alex?
Ben.
Well, it holds up. No podcast without Ben. I don't know if he told me about them. I don't know when they really started. I feel like Jordan Peterson was my first big foyer, some word along those lines, into podcasting. And that was probably through JRE because he was on that, and then leads to like people like Theo Von. You guys like him?
Yeah, funny guy.
Yeah, I guess
it sounds like you guys listen
him.
to boring podcasts.
What do you listen to? Just well, okay, let's keep this interesting then, and let's get to the rapping. Here's our rapping and wrecking section. Brace your ears for this. It's about to go down. Swing low, but you don't know me. South winds can blow the sea. The world's controlled by Z. The bigger the budget, the madder the hatter. Unstoppable as my flow be. Now step aside, you ain't ready to fly. Put my pen to the pad and say bye. Uber Chad to ignite fright tonight. Yeah, my spitting is bad, but I write right to get right. End of rap. Would you guys like to? I don't know if you need time before you present your
to take it
grading.
All in.
What's that?
To take it all in.
Yeah.
Now, do we add style points for the crown?
To the words, I guess not. I mean, you could say my whole presentation could be wrecking or rapping. I don't know what does it change to add style points to the crown?
I feel that if you're rapping, like there's going to be style points in it, regardless.
Well, we'll get to.
Oh, you got a goblet too?
Ye's new album. Yeah, I got it all on today. Ye's new album, but to hype myself up, I was listening to the last song on it is King. It's I'm Still the King.
I'm still standing better than I ever was.
I haven't listened to that album yet.
At all?
Kanye's new album? I haven't listened to it.
Well,
is it out or is it like
I've been listening on Spotify. I think it's out, and I think one song got pulled down at least, maybe others. It's hard to know.
Why would it
with
get
him.
Pulled down?
My wife told me it was sampling issues, like somebody didn't approve of a thing, and then I thought about like, it's not Ye's job to reach out to an artist from like 20 years ago to get their approval to use this sample. That's some A&R or I don't know who, but he just makes the music and then somebody decides what they're going to release essentially. I mean, maybe it's the last approval, but I don't know. He's got a company, Rockefeller, right? That he's signed to still, or have things changed?
I don't know if he's still signed with Rockefeller. I
Well,
mean, it would make sense if he was, but
when I
don't
saw
know.
him on Drink Champs, he said that Jay is still his boss. So, in some sense. The other thing I want to mention while we were on rap is a little kid that I know said of rap, referring to how big my baby's poop was, and she was scared by it, so she called it a spooky dookie. And I thought that was some good rap. Oh, so getting into the recap, we need to make sure to address to the listeners that I've given you guys my access to my notes. Does that change anything for you guys? Do you feel better prepared now?
No, I'm actually less prepared because I forgot what they were.
Oh, that's good. We might not get
we
to
waited
them
a week.
because and I should also address that we couldn't do last week because I got sick, and I talked with Alex beforehand about having sinus infections, taking antibiotics, and I started a steroid pack today. So we didn't record
That
last
means you went
week.
to like a real doctor.
No, I mean, I know a real doctor. I didn't go to the doctor.
All my drugs come from CVS.
All my drugs come from.
Yeah,
I need to write that down.
Those are real doctors, though. That
No,
prescribe it.
I only do
pharmacists?
over the counter, man.
You only do over. Okay,
Yeah,
that
I don't
sense.
talk to anybody. No human interaction. CVS has self
You go to
checkout
self
now.
checkout.
Yep. No human. Walmart has self checkout, and they give you an option if you want a receipt or not. Like you can email it to yourself.
They give you an option if you
and
want
then
to
you walk
steal.
up to the door, and they're like, "I want to see your receipt," and you're like, "I ain't got one." Oh man, I despise Walmart check.
I always get a receipt for.
No, I don't stop walking. I don't stop walking. I'm out
Shout
the door.
out to Mitch
You want to stop
Hepburn
me?
and
Go
his
ahead.
donut receipt joke. Classic.
What was that? I missed the donut.
Shout
receipt.
out to Mitch Hepburg's donut joke. Are you familiar? Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good joke. Like, I am going to need a receipt for this donut. I'll need to prove I bought this donut. The book that I couldn't remember 2 weeks ago was Maniac
so he has
McGee.
a timestamp for.
We're going to talk about where CU3 Scott comes from, and how do you feel about brain chips? Oh yeah, the computer chips.
Brain chips.
So, would you like to talk about the brain chips or CU3 Scott first?
I honestly never expected us to get back to things that we said right before we logged off last time.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's better or worse, but we're just feeling it out. These are the notes I took, so I'm just going down the line.
CU3 Scott exists because of AIM, and my original AIM name was Calucula, like more or less a sound, not a word.
Oh.
And I don't know how it was spelled. I think it was like CAL.
Do you think that's a sign of intelligence? Because also your name could be considered one, the CU3 Scott. But like when asked for a name, you provided a sound. You didn't, not words. Like I'm gonna use my own language, and the computer just can't handle it.
But then after, I don't know if it was after grade school or not, or before I graduated 8th grade, that it became CU3 Scott because Cu is periodical element copper. Copper and Cooper are basically interchangeable because people just don't know any better. 3 is I'm the third child, and then Scott is my middle name. So it's just it's basically my name,
child.
but not my name. Yeah, I don't think you could be Duran for Thomas.
Yeah, I was Duran because
I appreciate that name
auto.
now, though.
Oh, you never knew? Yeah, I always. It was always a good story.
I didn't know that
the name
that's
is a good
why
story.
it was CU.
Oh yeah, it's so deep. Like,
yeah, that's a good name.
It's really just my name.
But like when we talked about just
I never
creating something that other people don't notice, what you'll notice, if someone were to just see that for the first time, they'll think like,
all right, I'm gonna call it now. Then
Scott.
You'll go back and watch the first 10 minutes of this, and watch me and Floyd take a drink together, like 3 times. We both just happened to be
That
drinking
makes
from a cup
sense.
at the exact same time.
Well,
It's
it's
so
probably you're
weird. I noticed it.
talking,
It was
and
so
then
awkward.
you stop talking, and I start talking, and you think, okay, this is my chance to recover. All
But
right.
yeah,
What?
no,
Well,
I mean, unless you
the
ask,
other
no one
story
will
is
ever know what
brain
CU3
chips.
Scott means.
If you've got an answer for how you feel, would you like to get brain chips? You could provide it, but I've got some my note written down. I could start reading.
So you're talking like Neuralink that
Yeah.
they're doing?
I mean, I also don't. I'm
So
not a believer in its possibility, but we'll get there.
I believe in its possibility. I believe that you can connect to a digital like medium through your brain.
Did you
I mean,
watch
if you
Westworld?
just know, yeah.
Okay.
The first 2 seasons are pretty good.
Well, that's the only two I
The
would
other
reference
two,
anyway, so that's fine.
So I think that it's pretty good. Like it's a good thing for especially people that are like paralyzed and can't use their arms or legs or something like that.
And that's how Elon
Using
always
something
starts
like
selling it.
Neuralink would be great. But as far as like a fully able-bodied person, I don't think I would be the first or like in the first 50% of people to do it. To like just have you cut into my brain and then connect the chip. That's crazy.
So I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I had written down I'm not going to be the first. But what'd you say, Alex?
I don't know anything about. Is it
What?
basically just electronic ratatouille?
Yeah, I guess so.
No.
But it's all made up, so it doesn't exist. So that's
No. So
just to
what
know.
it does is like you can control things
And it's
through
probably
your
also
brain.
talking about a whole branch of science, basically, more than one
Yeah.
specific
So
product.
if you think about like clicking a button on a screen,
Yeah.
the screen button will click. So it
So
attaches.
it's not sending neurons to your nervous muscles to make your it's having the ability to control a specific
It probably
computer
could.
with your thoughts.
Right now, but
I
I
think
guess the main goal is
they would
to
try to go back and forth.
yeah they would merge like they have like electrical
Like
pulses to your nerves that are, were disconnected, and then you could think about moving your leg, and then there's pulses that get sent to your leg, and then you start moving your leg. Like if you were
like that
paralyzed.
diabetic patch for insulin, maybe you could just have a device on your I want to say pancreas to release insulin, and like that could just be connected to your brain, or I could work on its
So what
own, I
is your
guess.
diabetic
But that would still be
patch?
the patch that your fiance wears to like get a proper drip. You could just have like a chip, a computer thing that like I don't know takes something in from your blood and turns it into insulin inside of you, so you never have to like. But it's the same idea as like having a computer organ basically, and the brain is just one organ.
So the
And your best
spot
pacemaker is
where
a
the patch
computer
is
heart.
basically just the needle that then the plastic tube that goes to the pump that is full of insulin, and that just pumps in insulin. So it's basically the patch is just the portal hole.
Yeah, but you need to keep
Yeah, but what he's saying is
feeding
that
insulin.
it's like that, not exactly that,
Oh, okay.
where it
But yeah,
corrects.
I'm just saying, like
sorry.
imagining
Chris doesn't know enough about
further
diabetes.
ideas. What? That's that. I'm trying to help
You
you out.
don't.
Anyway, the point I wanted to get to with it is like, yeah, saying that I'm not going to be the first, but we are in like the first experiments of cell phones or touch smartphones, and
I don't think we're the
that's
first. We're in like
well.
round 5.
Were you alive during when the first iPhone dropped?
Yeah.
Yeah, your kids weren't.
Well, I'm
So
saying
we're
like yeah, we were the first experiment, but we're
and
also in
also
like the 5th. We're in the 5th round.
of smartphones. You think 5th round?
Yeah.
What would you can you think you can make 5 chapters of smartphones or devices? I guess the iPhone is first.
Yeah, because it started before the iPhone. It was not the first one.
The BlackBerry.
Microsoft had a PDA, Windows. I forgot what it was called, but a Windows PDA existed before the iPhone. So you had that where it was a phone. It also had like a touch screen, but it used the stylus for the most part. So that was like the first go around. That and PDAs the personal digital assistants. So that was like the first go around of merging cell phones, technology, in your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
iPhone obviously was another step, and that got more integrated. But then you have to remember that social media attaching to the smartphone was another step, because iPhones were just like, oh, look, it's a touchscreen, cool phone. That's it.
Mm-hmm. What
But
do we
like
do with it?
Facebook wasn't really on it, which you just made calls and played games.
They used to have physical buttons
And
on the
I
text.
can
bottom
play
still, too.
Snake.
You would text way
and it's
more
got
than
better graphics.
Yeah, yeah. So then there was a few more iterations, and then there was like the more social media aspect of it, Facebook. But Facebook existed before the iPhone, so it was just Facebook integrating with the iPhone. It wasn't like something new came along. And then you have an integration where it was Snapchat. So Snapchat existed because of the smartphone. So then you have
Everyone had a
like,
camera
hey,
all
this
the
is
time.
this is what I'm doing right now on this phone with this camera. This is instant. So that's where, like, you know, more of Instagram and Snapchat generation is. So that's your third iteration? And then
I was thinking it was fourth. I was breaking down that we were having two iterations of social media. Kind of the first of that. Well, I guess that didn't really. The first iteration was more on the web than smart devices. So okay, 3 iterations. And I thought you could also go from
I would say
photos of
4.
Snapchat to videos. So it's like now we can send. I mean, there are IRL live streamers now, that people that just record their life all the time. I mean, we're trying to make that into a very condensed version.
Yeah, but if you look at the instantaneousness, if that's a word, of social media now, it's something that's going on right now at this location real fast. It's split second. Whereas what it was before, it was like, hey, this happened in my lifetime. Then it was, hey, this happened this week. Then it was, hey, this happened today at some point because I uploaded it today. And now it's like, this is happening right now, right here. And it's like,
right now.
it's like a different genre now, or not genre. Like, it's a different lifestyle for everybody living.
I'm sure that we're out of touch with what social media and the internet is doing right now. My understanding is that Twitter is big. I don't know if that's true, because it was breaking down news basically in journalists, because you can, like, there's someone somewhere in the world that is posting a live video of that thing. So you can just travel, and you can do it on Snapchat too, just by location. You can move around the globe and see what Snapchats have gone in this area and go there and see what's happening yourself.
They have a heat map that you can look at. But yeah, that's crazy. You're like, oh, what's the hot spot in the city? You go to Snapchat and you're like, oh, this place over here at 55th and Pine is a cool spot. Let me go over there.
Yeah, you can see if anyone's playing music, dancing in the street. Although you might just run over there and then be 10 minutes late. I'm going on to the next segment, the new segment, because one thing I wanted to write more bars. That was one of the critiques I got from the last episode, is it needed more rapping. And the other one is that it needed to be more educational. So here's some Shakespeare. This is from Othello, Act 1, Scene 2. There's these guards that have arrived to capture Othello, and they pull out their swords and like, come with us. And Othello says,
Tybalt, right?
I don't know. I think it's some like Marshal, maybe Tybalt sent them. But I in my head I said grab my Shakespeare so that I can actually have in front of me, but of course I forgot. So Shakespeare says to these guards, keep up your bright swords, for the dew will rust them. Good Signor, you shall more command with years than with your weapons. Do you guys catch that? Got any thoughts on it?
So let the dew rust your sword?
Oh, that's for the kids. Why does the dew rust your sword? I think it's to say don't use your sword, so it'll just sit still peacefully years and years till it rusts. And, the dew rises and falls every day. And that's how it slowly disintegrates it. And then he says that you'll command with your years. So I'm imagining that's, with your age and leadership, like you can get me to follow you. Command with your years. You'll command more with your years than with your weapons.
Well, I do agree with experience does help with a lot of things, especially with command.
And I guess it's also
you could
less dangerous.
You can see how things like went wrong in your day, and then once you're like in charge, you're like, all right, we're not going to do it this way.
And then often you fall into I ended up doing it that way I wanted to avoid. But that's life.
Sometimes you do see like, hey, I see why this needed to be done this way, even though I didn't like it when it was done to me. I understand why somebody has done it this way. I mean, you see that with like parenting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Parenting's hard. So Alex, are you gonna have kids after you get married?
Probably not.
Well, we'll work on that. Why does it have to be educational? Well, I said for the kids. So the next things on my list, I want to talk about these two stories of yelling in my underwear as like the bad side of what was going on in my life when I talked about being sick last week. The short of the story was I was sick, found out we weren't going to have internet here, and arguing with my wife because of it, and just tired from packing for moving and all that. And the very end of the day, last thing, I'm taking out the trash, and I have the baby in one hand, and the neighbor's little dog is barking at me. So I just walk to the edge of my yard, backing the dog up the entire way. And I'm in my underwear because I don't know, I got 2 acres. I should be able to take my trash out in my underwear. And I just stand on the edge with that little dog barking at me, just holding my trash and baby, waiting for the neighbor to come out. And then she eventually did and said sorry. And I was like, this is dangerous. Your dog's in my yard. Sorry. Yeah. That was the interaction. And so that was my low point. And my high point is I think I'm officially a millionaire, or technically, by having the 2 houses and all my Bitcoin. I have over $1 million in assets. And some might argue, maybe the Ben would argue, that you have over $1 million, maybe over $1.5 million in debts. But that's not, I'm managing the debt. So that's why it's not important. I could cash out all this stuff, have all the cash, liquid cash, and then run away to the Bahamas or wherever's the nice safe havens are these days. Certainly into the middle of the woods. That's what but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, that's what I've been up to this past 2 weeks. What have you guys accomplished anything? Alex is going to start reading that book a page a day. So we'll be done by episode, let's say, by the end of the year, hopefully, right? Does that sound fair, or do you think that's an impossible task?
It is 107 pages long. Like, if we film every 7 days, I feel like that shouldn't be that hard.
Every 7 pages. So in 7 weeks, you'll be 49 pages. We could round it to 50.
15 and a half weeks.
Yeah. So by episode 15 or 20, the book should be finished.
We'll talk about Of Mice and Men.
Yeah. Well,
why don't you get an audiobook and listen to it on your way to work and from work?
No, get a different book for that. Or if you want, you could probably use some of my audiobooks. But I do not recommend sharing passwords, because that is valuable content people worked for and deserve their money. That's stealing. You wouldn't download a car, would you?
Theft.
If I
could, I would.
And 3D printed. People do, yeah.
I got a 3D printer. I love printing random stuff. It's great.
I beat Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, how's that?
You
Fun.
just
Well,
beat
Floyd
that?
just printed something. Well, yeah, it's only 25 years old.
Not the original, not the part one of the remake.
The original. No, the
Yeah.
original.
Well, the
It was
original's
like
probably better
$4
from
on the
what I hear.
Switch.
Oh, that's nice. On the Switch. Interesting. Well,
Dude, the worst part about it is
but
everything about Final Fantasy VII, and
eh,
I had no emotional attachment to her for the middle of the
oh,
game. So it's like, well, why did everyone care that this happened? Because it's like she was never in my party. There's nothing in the story that really makes you want to feel for her.
I
So I
bet
was
they were
like,
attracted
okay,
to her.
whatever.
It was the most real woman
Oh
they'd
yeah,
seen on a
and let's be
screen.
real, I didn't play a remastered version, Chris. I had the
Yeah,
original
yeah.
PS2
I know.
graphics. Oh, they
I
were
I know the
very
polygons of that
sexy
woman in my head.
octagons.
Yeah.
It's called Revolutionary back in
Well,
1999 or
Yeah, when
whatever.
you had to switch into the third disc to watch the scene.
Yeah, but no, I finally beat that.
So what do you, so I want to extract thoughts from it. I want to learn and grow from it. Playing Final Fantasy VII can be a growing experience. What did you think about life and the game? What connections can we make?
I don't think Final Fantasy VII is the one you want to make connections to.
Why not? Aren't they in like a techno
Well,
utopia
but the
but
whole
or
point of the game is that
dystopia?
Sephiroth wants to
And then
kill the Earth so it can be
okay.
reborn with his energy.
So this sounds like a biblical story, and he's representing the devil, right?
I mean, there might be some sort, but the weirdest thing is at the very end, it cuts to
Well, we're
500 years in
making
the
it though.
future. So it's like, wait,
It,
what? Like, so I don't
well,
understand. If there was
spoilers for
a
Final
deeper
Fantasy
meaning,
VII.
I didn't get it.
I'm
No,
sure.
I
Well,
didn't spoil anything. It's just the after scenes credits says like
we'll
500
we'll
years
have
in
to
the future.
we'll have to get Michael on sometime because I bet he could fill a half hour of talking about it. So now in my notes, I'm at the Yay album. One thing I wanted to say was a line from it that I liked. He says, "Who's not entertained by my pain?" So I think that's nice writing. But what can we extrapolate from that, Alex? But I also have to get like what is your knowledge of Yay?
Yay, none.
Okay, I have
Like,
Kanye
Yeezys
West.
I know,
for
but
the
like after
uninitiated.
but I mean, like outside of graduation, like I don't think I've
You stopped
followed up on
listening after
anything.
graduation?
Maybe the one after graduation, but
But you probably just didn't.
What's that
You
beautiful
just
dark
didn't
fantasy or
like
whatever
it.
it's called?
Oh well, that one was at the big when it first came out. I think was hard. I mean, I was young, but it was hard to understand what was happening.
Really?
So
I
that
don't
would make
listen to
sense.
music.
I love that one.
Wait, oh, so you don't listen to music at all? You play
When would I
video
listen to
games
music?
and
I'm not
watch
gonna like sit in the
TV?
house and listen to music.
I guess it was in
That's
cars.
exactly when people listen to music.
Well,
That's so
At the
weird.
house.
yeah. I mean, I was listening to
The
music
only
at the house
music I
before we
listen to
came
the
on
house
here.
is smooth jazz.
Ooh, yeah, I love me some smooth. I gotta find a station. Oh, but shout
It
out
is
to the Ben.
it is
A
the
story I
best.
thought of today was how I used to stay up late at night doing hundreds of push-ups, listening to the two albums, the Black Album and the B side of Blueprint 2, Gift and a Curse, because I guess Ben was into music, so he allowed me to listen to his CDs, and that's how I developed my taste. And you just don't have music
Yeah,
taste
I
or
listen to
smooth
smooth
jazz?
jazz. There's white noise to go to
Like
sleep.
Yeah,
actual,
That's
with
like,
it.
wolves in it.
No, that's different white noise. That's on my phone. I'll have
but we
that
could
for when
listen
we get
to
into Baltimore.
Life of Pablo Wolves. That's got wolves in it.
No, he
Surrounded.
listens to white noise with wolves in it.
But so you go to sleep
And
with
it
white
scared me
noise,
one
huh?
time.
Have you ever heard
You ever hear about that?
No, but have you ever heard your dog like howl in its sleep, or maybe it howls when it's awake? Even
Yeah.
yours.
He
And
does.
It can get
Sometimes
scary
in his sleep.
when they sound like a real
Like I
wolf.
turned it on for me, so I turned it down. Floyd didn't know I turned it on. We were sleeping in the same room, and it's raindrops and like wind in a field and wolves howling, and we were in the Poconos, and you just all of a sudden you just hear in the dead of the night you just hear the whoo, and Floyd's like, "Yo, man, I think there's wolves outside." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "There's wolves." I was like, "Oh no, that's me."
I was really worried for way too long because I just heard distant wolves like
Did
howling
a
in the
plan
distance.
start to form in your mind what you're going to do about the wolves?
No, I
Stay
was just thinking
indoors,
like,
Well,
yeah, it was definitely
I
stay
think go back
indoors.
to sleep and hope that they don't come through.
Well, because we just seen like a bunch of deer come up to the cabin, so it's like, all right, it's kind of wild out here. Yeah, we're in the
I mean, the
Poconos in
next
the
week after
mountains.
Yeah.
that, we saw that TikTok of the guy who like fist fought a bear.
Yeah, and it was right. It was where we were staying too.
No.
Yeah, it was like down the street from our.
So
So
it wasn't
these
out of the realm of
bears-
possibility.
No, like this bear came up into like their barbecue, and the guy's like, "Get out of here!" And like he like punches the bear, and the bear definitely gets him across the chest. But like he scares off the bear, and then like turns around to people, and they're like, "Dude!" And he has like 3 giant claw marks across his chest. He's like, what are you gonna do?"
I think he's going to regret
Yeah, and
that
there was like
decision.
20 signs that said "Beware of bears" where we
Also,
were.
And
So there was bear signs all over the place. I hear wolves. I start thinking things.
Well, yeah, late at night, haven't slept. Here, you got to listen to white noise. But I can't do white noise, especially something that would have like a wolf howl, because like the loop, I'll like know when it starts and finishes, so I'll know how many times it's playing before I've fallen asleep, or I'll like know like, okay, the howling's gonna come in like 5 minutes, so my brain is then on.
I feel that. I understand exactly
You
what
know
you
what I did with noise? I made a uh, playlist for sleeping, and it's all these like it's from soundtracks and like all these like background kind of noises, and I always go to sleep to that soundtrack, and you know you just kind of program your brain to go to sleep to that every night, and
But
then
is
once I
that
put
like
that on,
songs? There's not lyrics in that, is there? Or is it actual?
there
It's
some
music. Oh, there are.
I would say
Huh.
like 10% of the songs have lyrics, but most of them are like Daft Punk songs. And the main focus of them is the Tron soundtrack,
Mm-hmm. Well,
which it
I
just
should
has a lot
also
of
Yeah.
mention to the viewers that you guys both work night shift, so that's an interesting lifestyle for most people. Maybe we get some night shift fans. But so it would make sense that you would need that kind of extra. I mean, my main technique to sleep is wake and sleep when the sun is. But that you'd need extra steps to force or like trick your brain that this is sleep time now.
yeah.
Because
It's
you're
almost
going to
like a
sleep at
hypnosis where
10 a.m.
I hear the first 3 songs and it throws me down. It's like it's literally like hypnosis. It's really nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well,
Have your Alexa play white noise, and she plays on white. Oh no, not white noise. Sorry, smooth jazz, and she puts on smooth jazz yoga channel on Apple Music or whatever the heck it is, or Amazon Music, and it's great. It plays for 2 hours. It turns itself off.
that's my
No
jazz.
lyrics. No. It might be Kenny G. I don't know. Like I just
Oh, but
or Yo Yo
I
Ma.
don't have that lady in my house. So one thing we could, well, Flizzo, did you think of any examples if you saw the note of Mice and Men of people that love something so much
Oh,
they?
I have like I have a
Well,
general
we're over
statement
a
about
half
that.
hour, so you'd have to give your best one
I feel we have
or
to
a
be
general
over a half
statement.
hour
That's
if we're gonna
great.
have like 15 minutes of catch up from last episode.
Yeah,
So,
well, we're still
of
figuring out
Mice and
the.
Men, of Mice and Men with Lenny, my best, I guess, summation of that is I've seen people where, like, let's say some person like loves a place they work at, and they're like managing other people. Um, you know, they love it and they want to control it, so they kind of like, in a sense, micromanage how everything is. So they think it should be a certain way, and they just don't know how things should operate at lower levels, and they just kind of they end up trying to change things to their vision of it, and it ends up making it worse for everybody below them because they don't understand how things work. But they truly do love the place. They love everything about it. They just want it to either stay that way, which a lot of places have to adapt and change with the incoming people
nothing is
and
permanent.
how society
Time
is.
makes fools of us all.
So they want
gold
things
can
to
stay.
be like how it was in the 90s, and it's like that's not how things work, or they want it to be in their image, which also not how things work. And they end up just hurting other people by doing that. So I always equate that to Lenny and Mice and Men, because it's like he loved the rabbits, but he wanted them to stay still and not move, and so he grabs them and holds them and squeezes them because he loves them so much, and ends up in the end.
Yeah,
So
I never thought it was that they were moving. I always thought he just he kept petting so hard that he just broke them.
I think it's more of like he
I'm
was
sure
trying to
both
also control them.
He's just out of control. Oh yeah, because then it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to spoil the ending. Oh yeah, because Alex has to find out what happens.
I think I know.
That's great. Wait, oh yeah, you've seen the movie, I guess, right?
I've never read it in literature, but I've seen the movie.
Yeah. Oh well, but one thing I want to say about what Flizzo said, that sort of meaning message was taught to me through the graphic novel. I don't know if it's the Red Sun Rises. It's the version of Superman if he landed in Russia. Because it's like in that version he does everything. So just Red Sun. And the kind of twist line was like, do you think you can just, he says to Brainiac, maybe you think you can keep the world in a snow globe, basically. And that's what Superman was trying to do, was just protect everything from the real world. But we're about to sign off. Make sure to follow CU3 Scott on all social media. If you're still with us on the podcast, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, add to playlist. This thing that helps give us a boost. Do you guys have anything else to add? Okay.
Nope.
Well,
get out and vote.
Hopefully we should be back next week, and we'll talk about voting weekly. Thank you for listening.
And doing nothing.
Have a nice day. Goodbye.